Welcome back to our miniseries, The Lone Screenplay Winners, where we talk about films that solely won an Oscar for the writing categories. My name is Matthew Anderson, and today we have back on the podcast Roberto Ortiz. How are you doing today, Roberto?
I'm doing great. We're going to be talking about an awesome movie.
I'm curious to know what your take is on this, for sure, because I think we might be a little bit differentiating on this. We'll see. Since we're on a bit of a time crunch, we're just going to jump right into our discussion. We're going to be talking about, with full spoilers, The Big Short, which was co-written and directed by Adam McKay, Charles Randolph being the other writer attached to the film's screenplay. In case anyone listening to this is not aware of what the premise of the film is, strange, but okay. Let's just play devil's advocate and say, hey, you don't know what this movie is about. I don't know. What's this brand new movie? So the premise of this film, which is based off of the author, which is the same title of the book by Michael Lewis. The film is set in 2008 based off of a real event where Wall Street guru Michael Burry realizes that several subprime home loans are in danger of defaulting. Burry bets against the housing market by throwing more than $1 billion of his investors' money into credit default swaps. His actions attract the attention of a banker, Jared Vennett, a hedge fund specialist, Mark Baum, and other greedy opportunists. God, it's really hard to say that term, isn't it? So together with these men, they make a fortune by taking full advantage of the impending economic collapse in America. So before we begin our discussion, I might as well ask, why is it that you chose this film for the episode?
Well, there's a little fun fact about me. I love Adam McKay movies. I've seen all his movies. I've seen all of them at least more than twice. This one in particular, I've seen multiple times, and I love it. It is so rich in texture, and I also love how easy it is to get through. You know, they get this complicated and sometimes boring, topic and make it very, very entertaining. Did I say they or no? He does. Did he write this alone, or was it him and a co-writer?
Well, it was him and Charles Randolph.
Then yeah, they. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, but no, yeah. So, and I assume you'd seen other Adam McKay films as well, outside of like his dramatic work, some of his comedic moments, or movies as well, I should say.
Oh yeah. I love Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. I have seen a few times.
Anchorman 1 and 2.
Anchorman 2 we don't like to talk about, but Anchorman 1, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I'll for time reasons, I won't dabble into that question of Anchorman.
Here's
2,
why Anchorman 1 should have gotten the screenplay Oscar.
No, all right, enough of that. All right, enough of that. So going back to the movie here. So The Big Short, you had seen it before, I assume.
Yes.
How did your feelings of this film change on a rewatch compared to when you last saw it?
Yeah, so I rewatched it, I think, definitely not last night. I think a few days ago. I remember when I first watched it, I was very enthralled by it because it kind of breaks the rules like of filmmaking. The characters constantly talk to the audience. When they want to explain something, they make jokes about it to make it easier for the audience to understand. And that's what I really love, and also what I love most, especially watching it now. It really hits hard today. Like, it feels like a warning, and that keeps getting ignored. And I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with it, like, especially now.
Yes. This is definitely another movie that it's like, oh shit, reality is actually sitting in a lot quicker than we expected.
Literally what the movie says is like, if you're not paying attention, you're the one getting played. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Even with Brad Pitt when he arrives to meet up with the two boys at the airport, and he comes in with like a surgical mask, and I'm like, oh yeah, this came out like 5 years before the pandemic we got.
Shit, 5 years? Oh yeah, 2015. Jesus.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah, so it's been like close to so we're actually running into its like 10-year anniversary for this movie.
Wow.
Because it'll be out by this December.
Wow, that's so okay. Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, as for me though, I've seen this now 3 times already, and I respect the movie, and even on this third rewatch, I admire what Adam McKay and Charles Randolph are doing with the film, especially with the fact that they're creating these characters and making them stand out within their own stories, but not have them be so similar to each other. Like the Ryan Gosling character is nowhere near any of these guys. Even the Steve Carell character and who's the other one?
Brad Pitt.
Well, him and Christian Bale.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all different from each other.
Yes.
And that is something that I do appreciate, both in terms of the writing and the performances themselves. But at the end of the day, though, for me, I come out of it just thinking it's fine. It's a well-crafted enough film. And I think the other issue, too, as to why I'm not as head over heels, especially on this rewatch, is that I've now seen what McKay is like after he has won his Academy Award with Vice and Don't Look Up. I know there are fans out there that love
Me.
Don't Look Up.
Me.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm yeah. Quiet down, boy. Let the teacher speak. But we got it. We got it, Mr. Show Off Pants. But I get I somewhat get why people are still they like this style of filmmaking. It almost seemed to me like I guess it's sort of a better explanation of this is like, that director that you think of, whoever it is you're thinking of in your head, and you're like, wow, that guy was like really, really solid. He had like a lot of great writing. He had the charm, he had the wit, whatever it was. And then you see their films, is like, oh, this is his same style, but just toned, on heroin or whatever kind of drug you could think of. And you're just thinking like, oh, okay, maybe it was better that they were on a leash and they stayed put in their place like they should have been originally. If anything, they should have been trying to do something a little bit different. And even some of the interviews that McKay was giving with his crew on The Hollywood Reporter about how they were going to go a lot more crazier with the fourth wall breaking, and I'm like, wait a minute, like you took this as a way of like, you know what, let's do all my leftover notes and use it for his next movies. But that's just me. So
I do.
Yeah. So I come out of this, and sorry, I just give me one more moment. So I come out of this movie and I respected it and I admired it for what it's trying to do, especially for a subject matter that can be tedious and boring and even hard to follow, and yet I don't know. I'm just coming out of it. I'm just like, it's okay. If nothing else, I talked with my brother about this several times. How he had read the book at King's College. He was getting an accounting degree, and he had read the book over the course and discovered how close the movie was in terms of adapting its source material almost to a T. Like, they've made some changes here and there throughout the film, obviously to condense it down to a 2-hour, 10-minute film or whatever, and yet he was still blown away. Like, how, a lot of this stuff that you're seeing in the film is exactly how it is in the book. It's like, because I thought to myself, even at the time when I saw it, I'm like, well, maybe the book's a bit more easier to follow, right? It's like, no, it's even more complicated. But it still captures the spirit of the book, which is what a good, adaptation of a book to film should be.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Regardless, so overall, I just thought it was okay. There are aspects about it we'll probably talk about a little bit more, but that's pretty much my opening arguments, counselor. So we're gonna have the defense prosecution go ahead, and you go ahead and you make your points, sir.
Your Honor, here's why he's wrong. So
Oh, okay. We're gonna play it like that. All right.
I'm kidding. What I was gonna say first was, like, I realized he hasn't really made a straight up comedy like Step Brothers in like a long time. So I was thinking like, oh shit, when's he gonna do that again? Because you're bringing up like his past work. That was my first thing. My second one is that first of all, I love how well this is written, and also you brought up a really great point with how accurate it was, because with something so complicated, it's probably really hard to like dumb it down unless you really know what you're talking about, which Adam McKay obviously does. And I also love how it constantly breaks the fourth wall and breaks, the usual filmmaking styles that he used to do to like talk to the audience and explain to them what's going on. And every character is fleshed out like really well, and he gives the actors a lot to work with. And especially the dialogue, it feels very natural and like quick. Which,
Yeah.
especially their interactions, I wouldn't be surprised if they did improv. Like, my God, like.
I think they did. In fact, even Ryan Gosling had stated when they were making the movie how they would place cameras not in the traditional way of like, oh, put them on the tracks or whatever, or put them on a tripod or someone's, obviously they had some of that, but sometimes they'd have the cameras just positioned in a corner to where they're like, oh, they're just going to, do like a documentary drama almost of like, here's how we're going to react and sort of create this sense of chaos on set. And even Adam McKay, he encourages improving, even when I'll talk more about, because down the road I will probably, somewhere down the road, I have a feeling I might have to go back to Vice, and I'll probably do a deep dive on that film in terms of like what happened with that and production wise. But I know that his other films, especially with Don't Look Up and Vice, he would do it. Adam McKay would encourage improvising, especially with Christian Bale having to do a ton of research for that character to know exactly what his character was thinking of in that moment. And probably the same thing here. Like, he had to probably do a lot of research on Dr. Michael Burry on the character. So, yeah, and I'm even looking through here. He's done some acting roles for television, for films, even producing other people's stuff. Like, I'm looking through. He produced Daddy's Home 1 and 2. Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, yeah. Tammy, and even, believe it or not, he had a hand in writing one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Can you guess what it is?
Ant-Man.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
shit,
he had
really?
a hand in writing that. Yep, yeah, he had a hand in writing that. Get Hard as a story by credit. So folks, this is how he did the Academy Award business.
Yeah, Oscar winner, by the way.
Yeah, he's an Oscar winner now. He did a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and then he did a story by credit for Get Hard about Will Ferrell, who doesn't want to get assaulted in prison. So
it's I can't believe he did the story for that.
I can't believe I can't believe you're laughing at this subject matter. It's so sad.
My bad, bro.
Yeah, but seriously though,
Get Hard is a very, very serious movie.
But clearly, it's like the fact that this guy has a wide range of variety as like a writer, director, producer. He starred in a couple of things, even made a cameo in like the other guys. I remembered he played like a hobo in it. I think I could be mistaken. But regardless,
I can't remember.
Yeah. But regardless, though, I going back to The Big Short, though, I appreciated the performances in the film, and I think out of the entire ensemble, I would say two actors for me stood out the most in terms of who I liked the most in terms of their performances. Christian Bale, who, ironically enough, I think they had shot the film, they might have shot it in order in terms of how the stories were going. So Christian Bale was first, they got through all of his scenes first, and I thought he was terrific in the film, personally. Even Ryan Gosling, I thought was really funny in the film for what he was doing. And I love what the bathroom call when they're talking when he's talking with Steve Carell. He's like, "No, Alex, no," and he's like shunning the guy away. And then once he hears someone's in the one of the stalls and he comes out, he's like, "What'd you hear, Paul? What'd you hear?" And he's closing in on him, almost like he's gonna beat the shit out of him. Like, what did you hear, man? I don't want you passing this shit on to anyone else.
I was crying laughing. I loved it. I love him.
Yeah, no, I thought that was funny. And, but no, the other actors are good in it. Brad Pitt's in it. He's good. Even Steve Carell is good in the film, taking on another dramatic role. And
let's say this is a healthy mix of comedy and drama.
For Steve Carell?
For Steve Carell, yeah. But especially the end, though. He has his moment. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Even future Oscar nominee Jeremy Strong.
Yes.
Which I almost forgot he was in the movie. You know who I also forgot was in the film was who was the person?
Is it John Magaro? Because I for sure forgot. Magaro. He was in Past Lives.
Oh yeah, he was in the movie. Yeah, I forgot. Well, he was another one. I honestly forgot that Marissa Tomei was in it.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Yeah, but it's like you look at this cast, it's like, wow, she's in it. Rafe Spall's in it, who would go on to do the shitty Jurassic World movie. Melissa Leo is in it, who's pretty good in her scene that she's in. Karen Gillian in like a cameo role, and then but no, it was really interesting to see how they took this story and made, again, like I could still, even though I'm mixed on the film overall, I could still appreciate a fair amount of the film from how it adapts the source material from what it is, which is like, again, a book talking about financial issues that were going on in the United States, especially that popped the bubble of this with the Wall Street crash, and trying to find a way to explore that while explaining to the audience in more simpler terms of like, here's how we're going to show you what exactly happened. So we're going to put Margot Robbie in a bubble bath.
Yes, and
we're going to have
Selena Gomez at the blackjack table.
Yep, where she's talking about synthetic CDOs. Yeah, and then like a hot hand fallacy, I think it was, where it's like a player throws so many hoops and people are like, oh, he's going to make the fourth shot, and then he misses. And even who was the guy that was in, who was the cook? Anthony Bourdain?
I think so. Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting because, and even growing up now, because back then when I saw this, I'm like, I somewhat know some of this stuff, but I kind of don't. But this time around, I'm like, okay, now I definitely understand some of these like dumbed down explanations they're giving.
Yes, I'm very smart. So, yes.
All it had to take for me to go through college myself and take out a bunch of loans and all that shit. You know, no. No, but it was no. So like I said, I appreciated that McKay, when he does these explanation moments or breaks to the fourth wall to the audience, he's doing it as a way of creating like a tension breaker, but also explaining to the audience what exactly it is that they're doing and why is it that this is going on and such.
Yes.
So I appreciated that. But yeah, as far as like Christian Bale's character himself, I just want to go back to that and just talk about that a little bit more. I won't go too much into this, but when I was watching the film, even on my first time, I'm like, Christian Bale's performance is too good to where he reminds me a little bit of my brother.
Whoa.
And yeah, and I remember watching it, and I'm like, this is too good of a like it's almost there with being like how my brother interacts with some people. It's very strange watching it because I'm like, oh my god, it's literally like seeing Christian Bale playing my brother.
Compliment or derogatory?
No. It's a compliment. I'm like, oh my god, he's like perfect as this performance. But no, he is good in the movie. And even his backstory with how he's very socially awkward. Mm-hmm. He has a glass eye because of a genetic disease I think he has.
Yeah.
I thought I like that they start off his story with him instead of jumping into the other ones. Because by the time you get around to Christian Bale's story, it's like, what are you trying to do? But it's like, you start off with Christian Bale's story. That way you have an emotional hook to the audience. So that way they can actually care about these characters and people involved. And obviously, when I explained the summary of this plot, it makes it sound like, oh, these guys are also a bunch of crooks. It's like, no, they're a bunch of assholes, but they are trying to essentially prove a point, which is to prove that the economy is going to collapse and no one's doing a damn thing about it. You know, even Steve Carell constantly says, "I told you so. I told you this was going to happen," and even busts into that. Yeah, and even busts into that what was it, that meeting he was at early on in the film, which is a good way to introduce his character and shows instantly how different everyone is from each other. Like Brad Pitt, Gosling.
There's like a formal introduction with them, but with this, he just like enters the room and he's like talking on the phone. Like it's like very like in your face. It's like you're like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, and it's something that I appreciated from, again, how the character is written and how that performance is done by Steve Carell. And, you know, and it's good, you know, but like I said, a lot of it is done in a very dramatic way that works. And again, I was surprised watching this. I'm like, it's a shame because it almost seemed like after this movie, I don't know what happened with Adam McKay personally, because it seemed like he took whatever potential he had as a director and just expanded it by 11, which is something that I didn't like about Don't Look Up, and it's, in my opinion, not funny. It's a dark situation now because of what's going on, but it's not a funny movie because there are no quote-unquote jokes in the film. It's almost like, oh, isn't this funny and ironic about some of this stuff? But it's like, no, there needs to be more to it than this. And yeah, but and even what's interesting about it, I'm not sure if you noticed this too on your rewatch, was the fact that Adam McKay is capturing some of what Oliver Stone used to do in the 90s when he transitioned into that period where he is now as a director. Well, now he's a documentary filmmaker, I think. Oliver Stone is, but that would be interesting to see Adam McKay do a documentary. Well, I mean, he technically did, but regardless. But regardless, though, taking all the quick cut editing, the quick flashes of light, and then the montage, obviously with how he uses a lot of normal things normal and mundane things going on in life and creating energy to it, like the keyboard thing where he's creating Nicholas Patel is creating that as a way of creating some sort of music building up, and Michael Burry discovering all these the housing market's there's a bubble and it's about to pop. And even with the foot stomps that Michael Burry does in his office, or even with the drumsticks he's hitting on his desk. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see McKay do as a director. And again, it emulates some of the Oliver Stone directorial stuff that he would do too. And even with how the editing would be at times, there's certain shots here and there where it's not just nonlinear editing, but continuity errors you would see distinctly. And it feels very much intentional. This isn't we're trying to, just cut for the sake of cutting. We're actually trying to create a mood and atmosphere for this kind of weird environment going on, and everything's going crazy. So, and I should also point out too, Hank Corwin, who is the editor on the film, he has edited a fair amount of Oliver Stone movies. In fact, I'm looking at his filmography right now as an editor. He did. He edited Nixon, Natural Born Killers, U-Turn. So he's edited some of Oliver Stone's earlier films. He was even an additional editor on JFK as well.
Oh, wow.
And he was an additional editor on Moneyball, which is very interesting.
Wow. And the guy who wrote Big Short wrote the book Moneyball. Wow, it comes full circle, this movie and Moneyball, oddly enough.
Yeah. Also produced by Brad Pitt and starring him, too.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah. Are there any other notes that you wanted to bring up for the film itself?
Well, actually, yeah. The dialogue, I don't know if I mentioned it, but despite being packed with a bunch of jargon, the script never really loses its emotional thread. Every line from the characters Baum or Burry feels very driven by who they are, which is grief, frustration, and obsession. There's a dark, cynical wit running through the dialogue, I would say, especially from the character starts with a V, Venet, right?
Venet.
Yeah, Venet.
Yeah.
That gives the movie its biting tone without feeling preachy. And I really appreciate how it, like I said, I've said this a bunch, but I really do mean it. It gets this complicated thing, and they explain it very well without dumbing it down to make you feel stupid. And the characters know that. They tell you that they're trying to simplify it to make it easier for people, and it's so entertaining. And I appreciate it more knowing what you said, that it's very accurate. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Again, it's a film that I come out of it and thinking to myself, I respect it more and more on more watches, but I'm not getting a whole lot more out of it. It's almost like I'm getting little nuggets of appreciation and admiration for the film itself, but I'm not coming out of it thinking oh my God, it's a masterpiece. It's oh my God, it's so much better than I remembered. Because there have been a couple of films that over the years where I'm oh wow, I actually misjudged you and was a lot harsher to you a lot earlier. Maybe it's because of some of the more underwhelming films we're getting at times nowadays. Although we are getting some pretty good films now. But there are some that I'm like, yeah, okay, I misjudged you. I was in a weird position. Now it's like, okay, now it's like one of the better movies I'd seen. But yeah, as far as The Big Short goes, I'm glad I saw it, if nothing else, for the podcast and was able to dive deep into it. Yeah, that's pretty much about as much as I can give of a compliment to Adam McKay without giving him an entire compliment. I don't know. I don't know. But regardless, though, I respect the movie and I admire what Charles Randolph and Adam McKay were doing. But at the end of the day, I still think it's the same thing how I felt before. It's okay.
All right. I respect that.
So,
there's
no, you don't.
It's fine.
No.
It's fine being wrong, Matthew. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I told you. Yeah. He's gonna dock my digits and he's gonna put it out to the world. Like, here's Matt Anderson. He's in 23. Blah blah blah.
Just post your address because we disagree on a movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, Spike Lee isn't that bad of a guy. But anyways, because Anyways, regardless. So jumping into the awards section. The Big Short was screened at the American Film Institute with respectable reviews, some even touting as an interesting introduction for filmmaker Adam McKay, turning from a well-regarded comedic director into a dramatic filmmaker. It was released with a limited run on December 11th, but expanded nationwide on the 23rd. And the film made roughly $133 million worldwide on a budget of $50 million.
Okay.
I know, it's a lot. And was nominated for several awards, including 5 Academy Award nominations. As it fits the miniseries' title, it only won an Oscar for the adapted screenplay category. One major precursor, I should point out, that it did win outside of the Writers Guild of America. It managed to win the Producers Guild of America prize over big contenders such as The Revenant, Mad Max, and Spotlight, which managed to win the Best Picture prize at the Oscars, with only Critics' Choice and SAG Ensemble on its back in terms of major wins, outside of the screenplay win, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it, Roberto, that you think that The Big Short managed to only win an Oscar for adapted screenplay?
Mostly because I think that's its most... I think when it comes to its screenplay, I think that's the most God, I'm looking for the word, but its most attractive feature, I guess, is the screenplay, the dialogue, the way they speak, their interactions. When people talk about the movie, they talk about how well written it was. So, and also, I wasn't there during the Oscars, but I'm sure the studio's probably campaigning the screenplay over its picture chances or the actors. So I think they knew that they had a really good chance at winning screenplay, so they probably campaigned that more, or Adam McKay more. Also, didn't he kiss Christian Bale on the lips when he won an award? Or did I make
that was Critics' Choice.
That was Critics'... Okay,
yeah.
so that did happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, am I having... What am I having? Am I having heat flashes?
Yeah, I was like, as I'm talking, I'm like, did that happen?
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, no, he did that. That was at the Critics' Choice. He did that when they won, I think, comedy film. I think.
That's so funny.
But yeah, looking at the adapted lineup though, it was up against Brooklyn, Carol, The Martian, and Room. Not to be confused with Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Yeah, shit. I actually thought that for a second. That would have been crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I
also Wakefield.
It does. Yeah, I mean, I do like Carol, and I like, I remember liking Brooklyn enough. I remember actually liking The Martian as a movie a little bit more than The Big Short, but I could see why this managed to win. Obviously, we brought up how snappy the screenplay was, and it's odd because, would you care to tell the audience who won the Golden Globe Prize for screenplay?
Bro, I don't know.
It was Steve Jobs.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes. Wait.
Aaron Sorkin won the Golden Globe category against, it was Hateful Eight, Spotlight, The Big Short, and I think Room. I'll look into this right now, actually.
Yes, that's right. I honest to God forgot that won Best Screenplay there. Why was it based off a book or was it original?
Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
Well, in the Golden Globe, we should mention to our audience, in the Golden Globes, when they nominate the screenplay categories, they nominate both adapted and original. But Steve Jobs was based off the book by Walter Isaacson, by the book, the memoir Steve Jobs. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know about you, Roberto, but I have a feeling that they gave it the win partly because they just loved McKay that much as a filmmaker. And he was the most recognizable name in that lineup outside of Tarantino, who was never going to win the category. In fact, I think Tarantino, he got Critics' Choice, he got Golden Globe nod, Critics' Choice nod, I should say, BAFTA nod, and then he didn't get anything else after that. So yeah, that's that.
And also, it is Adam McKay's a very popular filmmaker, so when the time was basically right to award him. And
it was like, here's your consolation prize. You're not going to win director because it's already a dead heat for Fury Road and Revenant until the Revenant won DGA, and it was like, okay, well, director's over.
Before DGA, who was Iñárritu still expected to win, or?
Funny enough, so quick story on this. I have a very close buddy of mine. I haven't interacted with in a while because she's been busy. But I had a good friend of mine who watched The Revenant the day of the Golden Globe wins were being announced, right? So she came out of the film, and she told me either like as the Golden Globes were going on or like right before director was being presented, she said Iñárritu's gonna win director, and I was like, there's no way that he's gonna beat George Miller, and then all of a sudden he won the Golden Globe, and I'm like, holy crap, she called it. And she's like, yeah, I'm telling you, Matt, Iñárritu is going to win director at the Oscars. And I couldn't believe it.
In hindsight, it was kind of obvious.
Yeah,
at least for me.
Pretty much. Because, like the only thing he had lost was Critics' Choice. But, like, the critics they don't like Iñárritu as much as the industry does. And also could explain why Richard Linklater won the Critics' Choice Award for Director of the year before. And then, looking through the other categories, it was up against, what else was there? Oh, Picture. We should mention Picture as well. It had won the PGA prize, and my reasoning behind it is the fact that much like The Crying Game, it was the zeitgeist of the town for a hot minute, as well as having both D.D. Garner, Jeremy Kleiner, and Brad Pitt producing it, which they had just won recently for 12 Years a Slave. So it almost seemed like, oh, all right, it's like a surprise box office hit, so let's give it this prize. So I don't know what else to add to that PGA win or what the hell happened there, but do you have anything else you'd like to add for Picture?
Well, I'll say it's a great win because I love this movie, but no, okay, so that explains it. I'm not too big an expert on awards, but yeah, that would explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then looking through here, see what else there was. And then as far as like well, actually, I'll get back to Adapted in a moment, real quick. The other two categories I did want to bring up. We already mentioned director. There was no way McKay was going to win director. Same with picture. That was pretty much like, okay, maybe this could happen, but I don't know. Editing. I think it seems pretty easy to say that Fury Road was just the best of the lineup overall, and it was it's like an all-timer of a win against like four like pretty solidly edited films for what they are. I mean, people have issues with their pacing and such, but Fury Road is like cut so perfectly, to where it's like even when I saw Mad Max Fury Road at a drive-in for my second watch, I was like, I have a feeling this is going to get nominated for some techs, including editing.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I thought it would be like sound, visual effects, film editing, like that'll be about it. I did not think it was going to be like a Best Picture nominee until the Golden Globes nominated it for Picture and Director, and I thought, okay, this is going to get in for Picture and Director. Okay, got it. Awesome. But yeah, and as far as supporting actor goes, because Christian Bale was nominated against. I'm looking through here.
I personally...
Tom Hardy for The Revenant, Mark Ruffalo for Spotlight, Sylvester Stallone for Creed, and Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies was the winner. What exactly happened here?
Where's Idris Elba, man? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Seriously,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I don't know. Not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of this lineup. I personally wouldn't have Tom Hardy there, because... I mean, he's good. It's just... Listen, you saw The Revenant, right? I don't think...
I did.
Can you understand a word he was saying in that movie?
I had to put subtitles on.
Yeah, because like I watched...
even when I watched it on my flight from here to San Diego, which by the way, sorry we couldn't meet up in person and do the whole AFI thing.
That's fine. I still hate you for it, but it's fine.
Sorry. But like the fact that I saw I was like, hey, I'll throw on the Revenant. I think I watched it from where I am in Pennsylvania to San Diego. I was like, yeah, I'll watch the Revenant. And even then I had to throw in subtitles because I'm like, I don't understand what he's saying. So screw it, whatever.
Yeah, no, he's good. It's just, no fault to him, but it's like I don't know what you're saying, dude.
Yeah, like
you think that was purposeful
like
or
probably. I mean, yeah. I guess. Yeah, it probably was because of how the character interacted with at the times. I think he's good in the movie. If nothing else, it reminds me too much of what Tom Berenger did in Platoon. Although maybe it's just because of how he plays the same archetype character. So yeah, but the only legit explanation I have is that Stallone had burned his bridges with Hollywood, and he was the sole representative film.
Yeah.
The sole representation of Creed. And even though a lot of people respected and liked what he did in Creed, including myself, it was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, we're not going to give you the win. And they liked the more snooty. They were a lot more snooty, and they preferred the more English-trained actor, Mark Rylance, who was fine in Bridge of Spies. Honestly, I've seen much better work from him after this.
I would not have given him the win. I would have...
No.
But honestly, I probably would have given it to Idris Elba. I mean, what the fuck? He was supposed to be there, man. That still pisses me off. He got snubbed.
They have a bias towards Netflix.
Yeah, at the time.
That was a thing at the time.
Yeah, at that time. That's still mad.
Yeah. Mad. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still. Yeah, because I remember not Idris Elba. Sylvester Stallone. He was like the favorite to win that category, I remember. And though in hindsight, it's like, yeah, of course he was going to lose. Like, he missed precursors. Like, even SAG didn't go for him.
SAG and BAFTA didn't go for him. Although I don't know if SAG was an issue of... I do wonder if SAG was an issue for the tardiness for submissions. I could be mistaken. But
I wouldn't
the fact
know.
that BAFTA didn't go for... The fact that BAFTA didn't go for him, I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on, guys? And he managed to win BAFTA by default, and it's Mark Rylance did, and I was like, okay, well, okay, maybe, all right, maybe.
Were you predicting? Who were you predicting that year?
I think I was predicting Stallone. I'm like, please give it to Stallone. I was like, don't give it to anyone else. And then when Mark Rylance won, I'm like, really? He's just fine. And I rewatched it a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago almost, and I'm like, he's fine, but did we really have to give Mark Rylance the win for this? Come on, guys.
No, we didn't, but he has it.
Whatever.
He's a good actor. We love. This is a Mark Rylance loving household. Okay, we love this guy, but he doesn't do anything extraordinary besides being awesome. But that's it.
Yeah, and then jumping on to the next discussion in terms of going back to adapted screenplay as to why I think it won the Oscar, The Big Short did at least, was outside of sweeping the rest of the precursors, Critics' Choice, University of Southern California Scripter Award, Writers Guild of America, and the BAFTA Award, is that it took an uncinematic financial scandal and turned it into a more coherent narrative.
Yes.
Because sometimes these writers and directors are very jealous. They're like, oh, wow, like you actually were able to turn this, unadaptable book and make it a feasible narrative to where people are talking about it in the moment. And
should I
for
be
a
jealous
moment,
too?
yeah, of course. And that's something I'm catching on to as well. And I don't know if you are as well as Roberto, but it almost seems to me like some of these screenplay winners we've been getting recently have been going towards, at least the wins themselves, have been going towards the films that the writers themselves are very jealous of. They're like, oh, wow, like you're able to turn this like airport novel Conclave into a screenplay that everyone, audiences and critics are liking, and even their grandmothers are liking.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, And even with Anora, like balancing the mixture of comedy and drama, and being able to balance it in a more coherent narrative that audiences are talking about you within the moment. So it's things like that sometimes that helps your chances at winning the screenplay prize. Sometimes, I mean, there's other factors that go into it, but that's just like one of many factors, I would argue. But yeah, outside of that though, I'd assume you would say this is like a deserving adapted screenplay winner.
No, it sucks. Yeah, no, of course I would say.
Okay.
No, yeah, of course.
Good night, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that this won because it's really really good. So it's the right winner, and also that lineup. No offense to the movies, they're great movies, but the lineup was not strong, But Carol, great movie. Love Carol.
Yeah, I might have given the award to Carol. Maybe even The Martian. I don't know. I'm okay with the win. I'm not really over the moon by it. I'm not angry at it like I was with like Belfast, or what was the other one I did? Conclave, where I was like, oh god, why is this fucking
Yeah. For those who don't know, Matthew Anderson loves Conclave. It's like his favorite movie
Yeah.
of 2020.
No, we already did the episode on it with Lewis a couple weeks back, so yeah, they already know about it. And if you aren't aware of what the episode is, then go back and look at it. But anyways, yeah, I think that's about it in terms of the episode. One of the more shorter episodes. But hey, that's what happens when you're on a bit of a time crunch. And
yes.
There are some films that myself and a guest will watch, and these are the notes we came up with. But overall though, I'm okay with the film overall, and even the win itself, it's fine. But sure,
I don't know. Yeah. This is a bit off topic. Do you think Disney will ever get any above the line categories again? Like not Disney, like not the studio owned by Disney, like straight up Disney.
Yeah, not you're not talking like excluding Searchlight and
or 20th Century Fox.
20th Century Studios.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. They just got to find the right movie.
Yeah,
and,
maybe if they
market
adapt
it the right way.
Blood Meridian, we'll see.
The what?
Blood Meridian. Oh, do you know about Blood Meridian?
No, you'll have to tell me about this off air.
Oh shit.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get off topic real quick. So before we do, we're gonna officially sign off. And I'd like to once again thank you, Roberto, for coming on for one of the more shorter episodes of this discussion.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to plug in for where our listeners can follow you along?
Yes, I am a writer for Loud and Clear Reviews. My reviews are the best, okay? I am a great writer.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm kidding. But seriously, you can find I'm on Letterboxd, Twitter, Instagram at the Club Ortiz. And like I said, I am a reviewer for Loud and Clear Reviews. Please go follow them, though. They are great. Serena Sagadoni is a great editor. We love her. And, yeah. Yeah.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, real quick, you also have a short film coming out soon?
Shit, yes. We're going to be doing some
Yeah.
press for that really soon. Yes, it's called Life Cycle, and Serrano House Films has acquired it. So that's cool. And
nice.
We submitted it to a few festivals. Not going to name which ones, but
okay,
we're very, very hopeful.
Awesome. Yeah, well, best of luck with the short film.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, sure. Anytime. As for me, you could follow myself and the show through Linktree under @Matthew995, where you could follow along on all my social media accounts, such as Twitter and Letterboxd. On the same side, I provide a link for where you can listen to more episodes of the show. And if you're interested in being in the hot seat, let me know, and hopefully we can arrange that happening soon. In the meantime, we hope you enjoyed listening to this episode, and we hope to see you at the movies. Take care, guys.